Preface. Ethereal Hollywood is a world reconfigured from the golden age of Hollywood, where the legendary stars are not just memories, but immortal archetypes, still living in their own parallel alternative reality. Familiar history is not duplicated but flexible and constantly revisioning itself along diverse pathways. Time and space are also more fluid and less binding. And what has been called magic works in odd and unusual ways, producing scenarios from the silly to the surreal. And since these stories are in an alternative world or dimension, there are variances from real-world facts, such as the relationship between characters, studios, events. This is a fluid world where history flows in unexpected directions. These are audiobooks with imagery synced to the narrative as much as possible, serving as quasi-storyboards to give a rough visual dimension to the stories. Book 13 of the Ethereal Hollywood series. Carvel, Gangster Sanctuary. By Arnold Kalnitsky. Judge Hardy's gavel hit the mahogany bench with a sound like a pistol shot. Disorderly conduct, he declared, peering over his spectacles at the sheepish teenager before him. $15 or 10 days, young man. The courtroom sighed. Another Tuesday in Carvel. Outside, maple leaves skittered across Main Street like dropped pennies. Polly Benedict tugged Andy Hardy's sleeve near the soda fountain. "Your dad's scary when he's sentencing," she whispered. Andy grinned, swirling his root beer. "Nah, wait till you see him at breakfast. He can't even butter toast without dropping crumbs." A black Packard slid down Elm Street, tires crunching gravel. Inside, Edward G. Robinson wiped his brow with a silk handkerchief. "This burg's quieter than a church mouse," he muttered. Beside him, Humphrey Bogart lit a cigarette, squinting at clapboard houses. "Perfect." Beezy pedaled past them on his bike, baseball glove dangling. "Hey mister," he yelled. "Slow down. Sheriff'll nab ya." Bogart smirked, blowing smoke. "Kid's got spunk." Robinson adjusted his tie. "Just drive." The car rolled toward the Hardy residence, kicking up dust. Inside, Aunt Millie poured tea, rattling cups. "James, that delinquent boy today, did you see his trousers? Patched at the knee." Judge Hardy sighed. "Millie, focus. Marian's recitals tonight." Mrs. Hardy smoothed her apron. "The chicken's dry again." Robinson's knuckles whitened on the door handle. "Remember, we're insurance adjusters." He stepped out, shoes crunching gravel. Andy and Polly rounded the corner, laughing, freezing mid-step. Robinson tipped his hat. "Afternoon, son. Your father home, doctor." Wagoner's Ford rattled up behind them. "Trouble, James," he called, bag in hand. Bogart's hand drifted toward his coat. Robinson's smile tightened. "Not at all, Doc. Just neighborhood business." Inside, Marian's piano scales faltered. The screen door creaked open. Judge Hardy stood framed, eyes narrowing. "Can I help you gentlemen?" Robinson flourished a business card. "Bartlett and Stone Insurance Adjusters. Assessing storm damage." Polly nudged Andy. No storm had hit Carvel in months. Bogart scanned the porch ceiling. "Gutters loose," he stated flatly. Mrs. Hardy bustled out. "Oh, visitors. I've peach cobbler cooling." Aunt Millie peered from behind her. "James, their suits cost more than your salary." Andy stepped forward. "Dad." Beezy saw them speeding past Elm. Robinson chuckled, a sound like gravel in a tin can. "Eager to serve, son. War's got everyone jumpy." Bogart's stare lingered on the judge's study window, thick curtains drawn. Jimmy Frobisher's jalopy backfired down the street. Both gangsters flinched, hands jerking toward hidden holsters. Silence pulled like spilled ink. Polly nudged Andy again. "Sharper this time. Insurance adjusters," she whispered. "Their shoes are shined like gangster pictures." Mrs. Hardy beamed, oblivious. "Do come in." Marian's practicing Debussy. Aunt Millie sniffed Robinson's lapel as he passed. "Bay rum and gun oil," she hissed to the judge. Dr. Wagoner lingered, bag clutched tight. James, he murmured, that shorter fellow's got trigger calluses. Inside, Cagney surveyed the parlor, crystal candy dish, framed school photos, Judge Hardy's gavel on the mantel. Bogart drifted toward the piano. Marian froze mid-scale, knuckles pale on the keys. Play on, miss, he rasped. Nice place. Real, wholesome. Andy watched Bogart's fingers trace the piano's edge, stopping near a loose floorboard where he'd hidden last summer's firecracker stash. Sweat pricked his collar. The screen door slammed. George Benedict strode in, bank ledger under his arm. James. Heard we had visitors. He froze, spotting Robinson. Recognition flared. Bartlett and Stone, you handled the mercantile fire claim. Robinson's smile hardened. Small world, Mr. Benedict. Betsy Booth's laughter floated from the garden, slicing the tension. Bogart's hand eased from his coat. For now. Andy edged toward the piano. Bogart's thumb lingered near the loose floorboard, his floorboard. Sir. Andy's voice cracked. That wood's warped. Might snag your cuff. Bogart's eyes locked onto his, flat and cold as a river stone. Sharp kid. He tapped the board twice. Thump thump. Marian's fingers trembled over the keys, striking a dissonant chord. Mrs. Hardy bustled forward with cobbler. Now, gentlemen, sit. Cagney accepted a plate, fork clinking loudly. Charming town. Everyone knows each other. Dr. Wagoner cleared his throat. Like family. Especially with draft notices coming. Robinson's fork stilled. Bogart stared out the window where Jimmy Frobisher tinkered with his jalopy. The engine coughed, a sound like gunfire. Aunt Millie snatched Robinson's handkerchief as he mopped peach juice. She sniffed it, eyes widening. French silk. And that cologne, Trefoil Incarnate. Only sold in New York speakeasies. Judge Hardy set his untouched dessert aside. Mr. Bartlett, he said softly, perhaps we should discuss storm damage, in my study. The gavel gleamed on the mantel. Cagney's jaw tightened. Outside, Beezy's bike bell rang, insistent, urgent. Polly tugged Andy behind the potted fern. Your aunt's right. Those men smell like trouble. Andy watched Bogart's shadow stretch toward the loose floorboard. They're after something, he breathed. Marian's trembling fingers crashed into Claire de Lune's crescendo. Robinson stood abruptly. Study's fine, Judge. Lead the way. Dr. Wagoner moved to follow, but Bogart blocked him. Private talk, Doc. In the study, Robinson scanned law books flanking a window overlooking the garden. Betsy Booth giggled, chasing fireflies. Cozy, Robinson murmured. Real, isolated. Judge Hardy didn't sit. Cut the act. George Benedict told me Bartlett and Stone dissolved in 37. Robinson chuckled, pulling a pearl-handled .38 from his waistband. Sharp town. We just need a quiet base till things cool off in Chicago. He tapped the gavel. You'll announce we're war bond auditors. Downstairs, Bogart edged toward the piano. Andy lunged, knocking sheet music everywhere. Sorry, he yelped, scrambling, and palming his firecracker stash. Bogart hauled him up by his collar. Clumsy kid. Marian screamed as Andy dropped the crackers. They skittered under the sofa. Polly gasped. Mrs. Hardy dropped her cobbler dish. Crash. Silence. Then Jimmy Frobisher's jalopy backfired again. Bang. And Bogart instinctively drew his gun. Chaos erupted. George Benedict tackled Bogart. Dr. Wagoner swung his medical bag, catching Robinson's jaw. Aunt Millie snatched the pearl-handled .38 from the study desk. James. Duck. The judge hit the floor as Millie fired, shattering the crystal candy dish Robinson had admired. Sugar shards rained. Betsy Booth burst through the garden door, eyes wide. Andy. Beezy saw more cars, strangers with Tommy guns, by the drugstore. Upstairs, Andy scrambled to his bedroom window. Below, Cagney leaned against a sleek Duesenberg, chewing gum, flanked by 3 henchmen. Their eyes scanned rooftops. Andy's fingers trembled on the sash. "Polly," he hissed, "Dad's hunting rifle, in the cedar chest." Footsteps pounded up the stairs. Bogart kicked the door open, bleeding from his temple. "End of the line, kid." Andy grabbed Polly's hand and yanked her toward the attic hatch. The loose floorboard groaned under Bogart's weight as he lunged. Andy shoved Polly up the ladder, then kicked the firecracker stash, still under the bed, with his heel. Sparks flew. Fizz boom. Smoke billowed, choking the room. Bogart stumbled back, coughing curses. Andy scrambled after Polly into the dusty attic darkness. Below, Robinson's voice roared through gunfire and breaking glass, "Burn it. Burn the whole damn town." In the suffocating gloom, Polly clutched Andy's arm. "Your dad's rifle, it's still downstairs." Footsteps thundered on the ladder rungs. Andy scanned the cobwebbed rafters. A shaft of late sun pierced a dormer window, illuminating the judge's old butterfly collection, a forgotten hobby. California dogface specimens glowed sulfur yellow in their cases. "There," Andy hissed, dragging Polly toward a storage trunk crowned by a mounted monarch. He wrenched the heavy lid open. Inside lay Judge Hardy's spare gavel, and Beezy's slingshot, wrapped in oilcloth. Bogart's head emerged through the hatch, silhouetted against smoke. "Come out quiet, kids." Andy's fingers closed around the gavel's smooth hickory handle. Polly snatched the slingshot, loading a marble from her pocket. "Remember the 4th of July?" she whispered. Andy nodded. Bogart took another step. Andy swung the gavel like a bat. Crack. Against the butterfly case glass. Shards rained down. Bogart flinched, raising his arm. Polly loosed her marble. It struck his temple with a sickening thunk. He crumpled silently. Downstairs, Aunt Millie's 38 barked again. Cagney's voice shouted from the lawn, "They got Bogey." Andy peered out the dormer. Below, George Benedict wrestled a Tommy gun from a henchman while Betsy Booth hurled flowerpots from the porch. Dr. Wagoner staunched Robinson's bleeding nose with gauze, then shoved him into Mrs. Hardy's prize hydrangeas. Marian struck a defiant chord on the piano. Andy grabbed Polly's hand. "The slingshot," he breathed. "Beezy'll be repenting he ever taught you." They climbed out onto the roof, the sunset bleeding orange across Carvel. A tile cracked underfoot. Cagney spun, spotting them. "Up there." Andy flung Beezy's slingshot wide. Not at Cagney, but at the Packard's windshield. The marble pinged harmlessly off chrome. Cagney laughed, aiming his pistol. "Kid, you couldn't hit." Polly snatched the slingshot. Her marble shattered the driver's side headlamp. Glass sprayed. Cagney cursed, shielding his eyes. Jimmy Frobisher's jalopy roared to life, plowing through Mrs. Hardy's rosebeds. "Hop in," Jimmy yelled. Polly slid down the porch awning, Andy scrambling after. Inside, Judge Hardy emerged from the study, clutching his spare gavel. Robinson staggered up, dripping mud. "Enough," the judge thundered, striking the hall table. The crack echoed like a gunshot. Silence fell. "You wanted sanctuary." Hardy's voice cut the smoke. "Carvel gives it to those who earn it." Robinson wiped blood from his lip, eyeing the townsfolk's makeshift arsenal. Aunt Millie's pistol, Betsy's gardening shears, Dr. Wagoner's syringe. "We'll behave," he muttered. Bogart groaned from the foyer floor. Outside, Cagney lowered his gun, kicking the Packard's tire. "Ah, hell. These hicks fight dirtier than Capone." Andy helped Polly from Jimmy's jalopy. Mrs. Hardy bustled onto the porch, cobbler dish repaired. "Supper's ruined," she sighed. Then she smiled, offering the gangsters a slice. But peach cobbler mends most troubles. Robinson accepted a plate, fork trembling. Bogart mumbled through swollen lips, "Kid, that floorboard stash. Smart." Andy grinned. "Wait'll you try Dad's toast." Overhead, Fireflies wink like distant city lights. Peace, for now.